Hello, my name is Bonnie and this is my channel, A Knitter Obsessed. This is my knitting podcast where I talk about all things knitting currently going on in my life. And today I've got a couple of finished objects for you and a couple of whips. So this is essentially a standard, podcast style episode. The only thing is I do have a bunch of acquisitions and I'm actually going to split those into the next video. We're not going to cover them here because what I want to do is more of like a planning video and what I'm planning to knit over the next few months, and I'm pretty sure I feel like all of my acquisitions would just fit in a little bit better in that video. And also I have enough acquisitions that I think if I went through all my finished objects, all my whips, and all my acquisitions and plans, it would be like an 1.5 hour long video. And I don't know about you, like I don't really feel like filming that, but I also don't feel like anyone is going to want to watch that either. So we're gonna do it in 2 videos. And so if you like this video and you want to see what's coming up next for me, be sure to stick around, potentially subscribe, and check out that planning video when it comes out in a week or 2. So before we get into the projects, I want to say a couple of words about this video's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Unravelled. Unravelled is a knitting kit company that sends everything that you need to complete the project of your choice directly to your house, straight to your front door. These kits come with everything you need, including luxury yarns, needles, notions, high quality patterns with helpful video tutorials, literally everything you need. You don't have to think about a thing. It'll all come straight to you. I love Unravelled. They actually sent me one of their kits. This is the Essentials blanket kit, and so it comes in this lovely tote bag. All of their kits come in awesome project bags, and it comes with 3 colors of yarn, and it's this really beautiful alpaca, merino, and polyamide blend in a chainette construction, and I love it, and I've raved about the last couple weeks, so I won't go on too much, but seriously, you should check them out. I'm so happy with the kit they sent me. And I really just like what Unravelled stands for as a company in general, because they really focus on the mental health, meditative aspects of knitting, which is a huge part of why I knit. I am a naturally very anxious person, and so I've always used knitting as a way to kind of calm myself down and keep myself, focused on the present and a little bit more mindful and not so worried about everything else that's tumbling around in my head. So I really love that that's what they focus on and that they're trying to bring that aspect of knitting to more people. They have fast worldwide shipping. My kit came in less than a week and it came from Australia. So you don't need to worry about waiting forever to get your kit. It'll come right to your door super quickly. I really like them. I really highly recommend you check them out. If you do feel so inspired to check them out, I do have a bit of a discount for you. So you can use the link down in the description below or go to unravelled.store/aknitterobsessed and you'll receive 10% off of your order there. You can also simply use the code aknitterobsessed at checkout and receive the same 10% discount. I love a good knitting kit. I love when everything, you get a package at the door and you're all excited and it's just, you don't have to think about it. It's all right there and you get to cast on right away. Seriously, it's the best. I highly recommend it. All right, and so with that, we'll get straight into finished objects. Partially because I'm wearing one of the finished objects and it is way too hot for it in this room. And so I want to talk about it and then I'm going to change really quick so that way I don't overheat and melt. Because we're not in cardigan weather anymore in California. We have officially hit summer and it is hot. So I got this finished just in time for it to be, probably not the most wearable, but I will find reasons to wear it this year. But this is the Camelia Cardigan by Minimi Knit Design. I knit this with 2 strands of Plies and Hellhounds fig lace in the colorway Yugen. It's a 70% merino. No, that's not even close to what it is. Sorry. It's a 70-30 mohair and silk blend. I don't know where the word merino came from, but it's really soft. I have had some mohairs that I feel are a bit scratchy, and this is not one of them. It little prickly right now because it's very warm in this room, but even in a very warm room, it's not that bad. It's really soft. It's lovely. And it's just this beautiful, it's got really, really good kind of hairy fluff. I don't know if you can see it. A really good halo on it. It's really soft. The color's stunning. I cannot say enough nice things about this yarn. It's lovely. You should check it out. Highly recommend Plies and Hellhounds. But yeah, this is the Camelia Cardigan. I'll be putting up videos for both finished objects today of me walking around in them so that you can really see what I did and, see how they look on me. But it's this beautiful all over lace cardigan. It's a really simple lace. It's just sort of that like fan one that's on a lot of projects. It's a very, popular lace pattern, but it's really, really simple to knit. It's like a 6-row repeat, and you're only doing like a lace stitch on 1 row of that 6-row repeat. So the rest of it's just stockinette. It goes really, really quick. I was really worried that the lace pattern wasn't going to show up in the dark yarn, and it's knit bottom up. You knit the sleeves first, and when I was knitting the sleeves, I felt like I wasn't seeing the lace, and I was feeling really worried, and like I was gonna waste a lot of time on this cardigan and not end up liking it. But now that it's all together, I feel like it shows off great. Like, it's not the most out loud, like in your face thing, but it's definitely a lace cardigan. It's really pretty. So if you're wanting to knit this and you're not a big fan of like white or beige or really light colored cardigans, kind of like me, do it in a darker color, do it in a more saturated color. It still looks absolutely lovely, and I am so happy with this. My favorite part of this is the buttons. I'm thinking when the video walking around, I'll try and show off the buttons a bit more, but I mismatched them. And so I got these ones with the rhinestones in them. Let's see, where's the other one? Ooh. I have 2 of the flowers and then 2 of the like diamond ones. And I got those at Lambtown last year. I don't remember what the shop's name was. I threw away all the like backs to the buttons a really long time ago, so I don't remember anymore. But I bought them with the idea of mismatching them together because I thought they were so cute. And then I got the little, these little brass ones at my local thrift store. And just like, it was a card of all brass style buttons, but they were all mismatched. There were like 5 of them. And I had no idea what I was going to do with them, but I got 2 of them onto the sweater because I needed 6 buttons. So that worked out perfectly. But I personally feel like the buttons make this sweater. Like, I feel like they really pull it all together. And I am so happy with, like, it. As soon as I sewed them on, I was like, ooh, nice. For one huge modification I made to this sweater is I did add short rows to the back. So there's no short rows in the pattern. It's all just the same front and back, and she says to lengthen the back neck just in blocking, just by like giving it a good stretch. But I just felt like I wasn't going to be happy with that, and I don't know, like looking at some of the pictures and some of the projects, like they all seem to fit fine, but like just fine. Like, I just felt like the fit could be better. I felt like it looked a little clunky around the neck and shoulders. When I was knitting it, it just felt like it was gonna fit weird. Like, I don't know, like I just really, really didn't trust it. And so I knew I wanted to add the short rows. I was kind of nervous about it because I've never added short rows on my own before. Like, I've never like figured it out. And I feel like I would have been really confident in it if it was a top-down construction, because I've done that a bunch of times now. Like, I've got top-down, I've got my head wrapped around it. We're doing pretty good. But this is my first bottom-up, and so it was already kind of new to me. And so I guess in theory, even though it's just backwards, I wasn't as confident in like how the decreases were gonna lay, how like it was supposed to fit necessarily. And so I did string a lifeline through before I started the short rows, just so that if they looked terrible, I wouldn't, it was already going to be ripping back mohair, so I wanted to make it like as painless as possible if I had to do it. And then I had a long debate over whether, like, because the yoke is knit where it tells you to knit so much length before doing like a decrease round, and then you'll do so much length between that and the next decrease round instead of giving a number of rows or repeats, which is nice because my row gauge was different, so that was actually very helpful anyways. But I wasn't sure when I went to do the short rows, because I knew I wanted to do the short rows so that they ended fairly close to the collar, because they were going to interrupt the lace pattern, so I didn't want to have that happen in like the middle of my back or something. And so I knew I wanted that. I wasn't sure if I should start the short rows like, trying to think of the best way to talk us through this. So I wanted to add 1.5 inches in short rows. We'll just go with actual numbers because that's going to help. And the yoke was supposed to be like 9 inches or something before I did the final decrease round. And so my idea was to put the 1.5 inch of short rows in, then do the final decrease round, and then do the collar. Like, that was the order I wanted to do things. I wanted to do them fairly back to back. And so I wasn't sure if I should start the short rows when I got to about 9 inches and add extra 1.5 inches so that the front yoke was like the right height and I didn't mess with the depth from like the front to my armhole, or if I should start them at 7.5 inches and then, you know, the 1.5 inches finishes it up to 9. Hopefully that makes sense. And I was pretty sure it was the second. I was pretty sure I wanted to end it at 9 inches because that's kind of how I think of it when I'm doing regular sweaters. Like when you measure your yoke length, you measure from the middle of the back neck so that you get the short row depth typically. And so that made sense in my head, but because it was new, I was really overthinking it. And I ended up going with the second round, and it worked out perfect. I think it fits so well. It's really comfortable. It sits right on my neck and shoulders, no problem. It is choking me. That is not a problem of the short rows. That's a second thing that we'll talk about in just a second. But like, it does fit really, really nicely. And the short rows were not that hard to do. Like, I think I only had to put in like 8, and I was able to do the lace pattern in the short rows. Like I said, it does interrupt the lace pattern a little bit because it doesn't go all the way around. It just has a little arc of it. But it looks really nice and seamless on the back. I'll, again, put up some footage of me kind of showing off the short rows for you. And so if you want to make this cardigan and you're interested in that modification, I did put a fairly detailed, like, row by row account of what I did over on my Ravelry page for this project. So I will have that link down below if you're interested. And that'll probably explain it a lot better than I can just do it off the cuff here. It worked out really well. So I'm really happy with that modification. I know it's like not a huge one, but it was like very exciting to just like add something to a pattern that wasn't there before. Felt very empowering, so happy with that. I also changed the way the buttonholes were made. She has you do like, you knit 2 together or purl 2 together when you get to the buttonhole on like going one way, and then when you come back you not cast on, but you make a stitch with a make one right or make one purl right. And when I did that, I like couldn't see the buttonhole. It felt way too tight. And so what I did was I did the same cast off that she had, but on the way back, I just did a backwards loop cast on. So that way I wasn't pulling the yarn up from below. And it just made a slightly looser buttonhole, which worked really well because I have which side are they on? I have some like fairly chunky buttons. So that was my other modification. And then just adding length. I did add length to the body. I added probably 3 repeats past what she said. And then I did add a repeat to each of the sleeves. But my row gauge was off, like I said. And I still think the sleeves maybe could have used 1 more repeat for me. Like, I did knit to the length she said, but I do think if I had knit 1 inch longer, it wouldn't have been a bad thing. But that being said, it is cute like this. Like, I'm not upset about it. I pulled the sleeves a little bit in blocking to try and get as much length out of them as I could. And I think it is doable now. I think it doesn't look like the sleeves are too short. So just like everyone always says, that's the problem with bottom up, is that you can't try things on as you go. And I'm realizing how much I depend on that very specifically for sleeve length. So yeah, lesson learned. But still, it turned out good. I'm very happy with this. All right, so on to the one problem that I may need to go back and fix. I haven't decided yet. I think I have decided. I think I'm 100% going to go back and fix it, but not right now. Like, I'm just going to enjoy the cardigan for a minute, and then like maybe later in the summer when I really can't wear it and it's kind of has the newness worn off of it a little bit, I'll go back and fix it. But what happened is I just bound off the collar too tight. So it is a folded over collar, which I almost didn't do, but because I felt like it was kind of weird to put like a big, thick, chunky collar on like such an airy cardigan. But the cardigan is so light and airy that you actually I feel like you need this for the structure. The fold over collar really helps kind of just like hold it all together at the top and give it a little bit of, structure. Yeah. So ended up going for it. And I did it twice already, and I still think I need to go back and do it because it's just too tight. So in the pattern, it has you fold it over and bind it off at the same time, so you knit the bind off edge along with the bottom edge and then bind it off, and it just came out way too tight, and I knew it immediately on that one. And I just with the fluffy yarn and having kind of trouble seeing my stitches and like all that, I just was having a hard time keeping my tension loose. And so I was like, it's fine, we'll just bind it off loosely and then whip stitch it down and it'll be fine. And I've done that before, it always comes out looser, like it's not a big deal. So I ripped out my bind off, just like mohair again, it's very annoying, but it was fine. And then bound off loosely. I just did a standard bind off, but I did it with, you know, a couple needle sizes up and just tried to keep my tension really loose. Whip stitched it down. Whenever I do that, I only whip stitch down like every other stitch. So usually it comes out pretty loose. And it felt looser, but it was still like a bit tight. And I think it's just because the silk mohair has no give. Like it does not have elasticity. So like all of the elasticity has to come from the bind off itself. And I still wasn't binding off loosely enough. But I'd also like just redone it and it was like late and I just wanted the sweater to be done. Like I was so excited to just have it. And so I was like, you know, it's probably fine. I'm probably overthinking it. And I was looking at the pictures and I was like, it's like a pretty tight collar on her. Like, I think it's fine. And so I did the button bands, sewed on my buttons, blocked it. Like I did all the things and I was so excited when it was done. I put it on and like, I can button it at the collar, but it's like choking me. Like it's possible, but it sits really odd. And it sits really up and like on my throat in a way that I don't think it's supposed to. And so I think what I need to do is go back and do like a truly stretchy bind off, like a Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off with the yarn overs and like really get a nice flary edge and then whip stitch it down and then redo the button bands. And then I think it'll just fit a little bit looser here and it'll just let it kind of open up a little bit through the yoke and be a little bit more flattering and a little bit more how it's supposed to look. So yeah, it's fine. It looks cute the way it is right now, but I doubt anyone else would look at it and be like, the collar's fitting weird, but I know the collar's fitting weird. I know it could be better. And so eventually I would like to redo this, but like I said, it needs to be a minute because I'm too excited about it being like a finished object right now for me to like want to go back and change it, if that makes sense. So I love this. I am so happy I finally knit it. And it knit up so fast. Like it took me like 2 or 3 months to knit based on like the day I cast on to the day I cast off. But like actual knitting time, it took me like maybe 2 weeks. I just would put it down and forget about it for long stretches of time. Like when I was actually knitting it, it flew. It went so fast. All right, I'm gonna change out of this really quick because it's very warm. And then we will move on to the next finished object. Switched into my Ranunculus, if you haven't heard of it, pattern by Midori Hirose. But oldie but a goodie and is much lighter and much more appropriate for summer. For my second finished object, I have, and this is another one, there'll be lots of videos because it looks way better on than it does me like holding it up. There's like no way to hold this up in a way that makes sense. But I finished my Miles shirt jacket. I'll try and get like some distance. This just looks like a brown blob when it's not on my body, I think. But that's okay. It's so nice. This thing is huge and it is so light. Like it weighs nothing. And that's because it was knit in Manchalopi by Wool Dreamers, which is an unspun yarn. And this is very clearly in the dark brown colorway. Their colorways are very reasonably named. And it features buttons by Denim and Rain that I picked up at Flock. They're these really pretty kind of clear and black marbled buttons with some gold leaf. And each one's just like a little bit different. I really like mismatched buttons. And I feel like these give me mismatched button vibes without having to mismatch the buttons, which is very, very nice. But yeah, this is a, like the name says, it's a big shirt jacket. I knit the, I think, second size. It was between the second and third, and I decided to size down because it's already a very oversized pattern. It's a drop shoulder construction. It has this really nice shoulder seam detail in the back. It's just very clean looking. I was worried this was going to come out too tight when I first knit it because I was having trouble keeping my tension loose. especially because I couldn't really pull on the yarn very hard because of being the unspun yarn, but it blocked out really nicely and I think it looks great. I did work on this one to keep the sleeves from being too long and I think they came out perfect. I did do tubular bind offs on all of my edges, which I am not sure I recommend that, but is what it is. I like the way they look, but it was a lot of work because you had to you had to pre-felt the yarn for all of the tubular bind offs and stuff, and it was just a little bit like, but it does look very nice. You've got the rib button band. This one also has fairly big buttonholes, which work again perfect with the Denim and Rain buttons because they are fairly big buttons. And my huge modification, I made two, but this one's probably the biggest, is this collar is supposed to be folded and sewn down on the inside and then like kind of seamed together here. And so it has like this thick kind of stand up collar. And I didn't love the way it laid on in the pattern photos. And I don't know, it was always my least favorite part of the project. Like I thought it was cute, but it wasn't my favorite. And as I was knitting it, I tried it on and I just really liked the way it looked when you kept it the same, but like allowed it to fold over. So I just didn't fold it down and I think it looks really nice. I think if I was going for like a true like fold over collar, like on a shirt jacket, I would need to have put some increases in there to kind of get it to come forward at the right angle to be like a true collar. But I do just kind of like the casualness of this. It's almost got like a mock shawl collar-y kind of vibe. Like it isn't that, but it's got that same kind of relaxed, like cozy vibe to it. And I do really like it. So that's a fairly easy modification. And then the other one I did was I just put in a purl stitch under the underarms on both sides. There's a little like faux seam here. And it's such a subtle detail, but I really like it. Like, I feel like it makes the whole thing just look like more polished than I expected, but it's an easy fix. I actually really recommend that mod. I think it looks really nice. And you have to have a stitch marker underneath each arm anyways for making the hem curved later on. So it's not even like you have to, like the stitch marker's already there. It's all already set up for you. Like it's really easy just to put in the purl stitch. And yeah, I really, really like that modification. Wearing this and like drinking coffee on my back porch and reading a book has been like my favorite way to spend my mornings lately. It's officially like with the Camelia Cardigan. It's too hot to wear this much right now. It's a very warm and cozy shirt jacket. It's fairly airy. It's not like, it doesn't feel like a really like heavy bulky sweater, but it does just hold a lot of heat. So it's quite warm for it at this point, and it's definitely rustic yarn. So like this wool is very toothy. I wouldn't say it's like itchy, but it's definitely woolly. It's definitely rustic. And I can tell when I start to get too warm in it because it does start to get itchy. And so it's not one that's like comfortable to wear past. It's not one that's like comfortable to suffer through in. Like you do feel itchy, you feel uncomfortable when you get too hot in it. But I love this so much. I wanted to make this for like over a year before I finally cast it on, and I'm so happy I finally did. Like, it's fantastic. Once we get into a season I can wear it, I'm going to wear the absolute heck out of this, and I am so excited. It's a really, really well-written pattern. It's really easy to follow. There are videos where you need videos. There's like everything's explained. I had zero problems. I thought this was a breeze. This is another one where like my row gauge was way off, but you know, she gives you like rows and she gives you lengths. So it was very easy to adapt and it wasn't a problem. Oh, I need to talk about this. So this is done. I mean, it's done in my head. Like I've definitely hit completed in Ravelry. I have, I actually thought it was done for a long time, like a couple weeks. I was convinced it was done, and then I was cleaning out a basket and I found the pockets. So here's one. Yeah, apparently I forgot it had pockets. I knit the pockets and then completely forgot they existed. So I have two pockets. I need to sew them on. I was gonna like try and get it done before the video, and then I was like, that's incredibly silly. The point of these videos is to like just talk about what's happening with my knitting. I'm not here trying to like force knitting content to talk about. It feels weird and kind of not the point. So I figured you guys could just see it without the pockets, and then maybe someday I'll wear it and it'll have pockets and I'll point it out to you. But yeah, they'll go on the bottom, parts here on either side. And I think that'll actually add a lot to it. It should look really, really cute. So I'm excited for that. We'll see when I get to it. I've been having a really hard time making myself do like the more fiddly kind of, I don't know, not as fun parts of knitting lately. So like weaving in ends has been like a challenge, and I feel like these pockets feel similar to me, where I'm just like, why? Plus I gotta find some brown yarn that isn't unspun, because I am not about to try to sew the pockets on in unspun yarn. I feel like that would just be bad on so many levels, and like even the pattern does not recommend that. So I gotta find some yarn that'll work, that won't show up too strongly. But yeah, that's my Mile shirt jacket by Ozetta. Absolutely love it, highly recommend it. And I love it in the unspun yarn. Like I think it's so light and easy, and just it came out looking so nice. I think I'm really, really happy with it. I highly recommend just following the yarn recommendation on that one. That is it for finished objects. So as promised, I have 2 whips for you guys. So I think I'll go oldest to newest. My first whip is my Friday tee by Petit Knit. So this is where we're at. I'm making some modifications to this. And so first of all, this is knit in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in 4 different colors. So we have the, I think it's deep petroleum blue for the main color, which is very beautiful. This color I feel like is a chameleon. Like it looks different depending on the light, depending on what colors are next to it, all of that. But I just think it's really pretty, just beautiful blue color. For the stripes, we have the Dusty Artichoke, and then there's, I think it's Powder, and then that one is Plum Rose. This is an all over broken rib tee. It's a raglan, and I'm knitting it on US 2.5s or 3mm needles, and between the needle size and the ribbing and the silk, it is brutal. It has been so hard on my hands. I actually had to take a full break. I just didn't touch this at all for like 2 weeks at one point, and it made a huge difference. Like I just can't knit this for very long at a time, and I do need to take long breaks, and then it's fine. Like it's not like I'm getting like chronic pain or anything, but it does hurt. It is one that I can't do in long stretches, and so it's taken its time. I started this as a knit along with my local yarn store. They were doing, it had to be a petite knit pattern, and then we just had like a knitting night every Wednesday for a couple of months, and I couldn't make every single one, but I wanted to be a part of it. So I decided on this one, and I did not meet the deadline. I was not the only one. There were quite a few of us who didn't meet the deadline for the knit along, but everyone was like, you're so close. Like I'm like, I'm not close at all. This is like here right now. Like it's very, very, very cropped. So it needs probably at least 6 more inches, if not 7 or 8. We'll see. It's got about 0 inches of positive ease, so it's like it needs a little bit more length to kind of get over and around everything. But overall, I'm really, really happy with the fit so far. So as for modifications I made, this, if you look at the pattern pictures, it's supposed to have a big double folded collar, and then it has a long amount of ribbing on the sleeves as well. And so I knew when I started it, I didn't want a double folded collar. And so I just skipped the collar completely and cast on for the yoke. And because you start with the collar, double fold it, and then start knitting. And I just skipped all of that and cast on the yoke because I was like, didn't know what I wanted to do yet and didn't want to wait. And I tried it on partway through, and I actually just like the way that this edge looks. Like it's in broken ribs, so it doesn't roll at all. My cast on's nice and neat. As it is, this color hits like right under my collarbone, and it looks really pretty. Like it's fine. I'm not gonna do anything. I was contemplating doing like an I-cord finish on it, but I honestly just think the raw edge looks really nice. And so then I kept the same idea on the sleeves, where I made sure I finished on, a main color stripe, But then I did the Icelandic bind off because I want something a little stretchy, but not too, I didn't want to flare, but I want something with a little bit of stretch so it didn't cinch in at all. And I'm just leaving it like that, and I think it looks nice. It looks nice and clean, and yeah, I'm happy with it. So we're just going for nice, simple finishes on this and just kind of letting the colors and the texture shine. I like the way the stripes look. Like, I kind of like the difference in values throughout, and I think it looks quite pretty. And you have the darker pink, but then you have like the brightness of the putty, and it's giving it kind of like a vintage vibe, but in like a way that I enjoy. And when I put this on, like, I just feel like personally, I think these colors look quite nice on me, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I feel so decadent having like a silk t-shirt. Like, that feels so absolutely decadent, and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, I will also be happy when it's over because it's killing my hands. That being said, it's looking like I'm going to have an entire ball of the main color left over. And then I barely used, I mean, these stripes are so small. I have so much, I'm going to have so much left over of all of the contrasting colors as well. And not to mention, I have a whole tea quantity of the plum rose. That's what I'm pulling out of for this. And so, like I say, I'm going to be happy to be done with the pure silk, but like, I'm still going to have a lot of pure silk to figure out what to do with. And so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I've been trying to work through my stash more and not have as many leftovers, and so I'm going to want to come up with something to do with it. The plum rose has plans, but I don't know what I'm going to do with the leftover, like, of the other ones. Especially those are kind of odd quantities of them. So, but we'll figure it out. Luckily, I like the colors, obviously, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, that's my Friday tea by Petit Knit. I will hopefully just keep slowly chipping away at this, a stripe here and there. Like, I did do 2 rows today, but I knit on it for over 2 hours yesterday, and so my hands probably need the break today, and then maybe by this weekend I can do a little bit more on it. But it's just one I have to be mindful of and just be better about putting it down and walking away, and not just like stretching and picking it back up, but like fully, like when my hands hurt, I need to like fully walk away from this one for at least a few hours and then maybe pick it up in the evening or something, but not like, I can't just kind of keep doing small breaks. Like, my hands need like a real break every now and then while working on this. And finally, this is a brand new cast on for the show. So I cast this on, I think 2 days ago, might be 3 days ago max. But this is, get the needles in a good spot, my Cognac Cardigan. That's a design by Atelier Castin, and this is knit with 2 strands of yarn held together. They're both by Treehouse Knits. I have her spruce sock and the truffle cashmere, and they're both in the colorway There's a Little Witch in All of Us, and I mean, like, come on, seriously, on these colors, like, it's so pretty. Oh my gosh, especially the spruce sock. Like, I love both of them together, but like the depth of this color is so pretty. It's like, it glows. I feel like it's not even coming across on camera, but like once I caked it up, I was like, it was literally glowing. I was like, this is so pretty. But if you've been following along this year, you know I've been in a green kick like crazy this year, greens and blues, and so we're continuing that theme. Yeah, I love this so much. Obviously, this is, you know, I've already split for sleeves. I'm already like, I don't know, maybe like 2 inches, 1.5 inches past the sleeve point. And it's, I mean, just absolutely flying for just the couple of days that I've worked on it. I knit the Cognac sweater earlier this year. And so when I knit the Cognac sweater, I knit the size 3. And I still feel that the size 3 was like, it's fine, it fits, but it's not as good as it could be. And especially this sweater, it's a contiguous like set and sleeve design, and so you really want to fit the shoulders well, and I felt like the size 3 was just like a little dropping over my shoulder in a way that it shouldn't. It should be like right on the shoulder, so you have the little sleeve cap that goes over. And so I sized down for this one. I did not swatch because I just knit the cognac sweater, and I felt like my yarns were similar enough that it was going to be fine. I used the truffle cashmere for my other one as well, but I did use a different sock yarn. But this is knit on US 10 needles, so you have a fingering and a sock yarn, and then you knit it at a bigger gauge. So I think it's like 16 stitches. I could be wrong on the exact number, but it's like, I think it's 16 stitches per inch. And so I felt like if there was a little difference in the thickness of the sock yarn compared to the other one I used, it probably would be fairly negligible in the airy gauge. And so far trying it on, I feel like that's correct. I feel like my gauge is very similar to what it was before. I haven't actually measured it. I don't know, it's really unlikely not to swatch, but I felt like in this instance it was like silly to spend time swatching, so we just went with it. The one thing that's interesting about this is, so the truffle cashmere is a merino wool and cashmere blend, and it's mostly merino wool. I think it's like, I didn't bring the balls in because I have some truffle cashmere over here, but she changed her blend. And so this is the original truffle cashmere, and I want to say it's like 13% cashmere or something. I'll put the numbers up on the screen over here. It is like one of the softest, like this combo, it feels like a cloud. Like it's so unbelievably soft. And then the spruce sock is 90% extra fine superwash merino and 10% nylon, and like it's also like, you can tell it's extra fine. Like it is unbelievably soft. And it's interesting too though, because the cashmere, the truffle, gives a different effect than mohair. So typically this would be knit with like a mohair or an alpaca. And where mohair is like hairy, and even alpaca, like it's more fuzzy than merino, but it gives that like it gives a big halo. Like I've had some alpaca. I used Surrey alpaca once, and it gives a different type of halo. The cashmere gives more of like a poof. like there's just these little poofs of cashmere that are kind of fluffing off of it, and the whole thing just is like, it's not halo-y, it's more just kind of fuzzy, if that makes sense. It's really nice. It's just a different look, and so I think it's beautiful. I love it. I am expecting that this will pill a little bit. I have a feeling those little fuzzy fluffy bits are gonna sort of want to come off, which did happen with my other one, my other cognac sweater. However, my other cognac sweater shaves up nicely and it's pilling less and less with time. So like I'm hoping that's the same with this one. So we'll just see how it goes, but I'm really happy with it. I am planning to do the I-cord finishes on this one. So it has instructions for I-cord or half twisted rib finishes, but I think the I-cord on the cardigan in particular looks really, really clean and nice. And then I'm hoping to find some like little like pearl style kind of buttons to go with it, and I think that would look so cute. Either that or maybe like green buttons. Like I don't want it to be too, I don't want the buttons to steal the show too much. I just want them to be kind of dainty and cute, and yeah, I'm really happy. Again, this is flying off the needles. It's like all I wanted it on, because it's just, it feels so nice in my hands. And compared to the Friday tee with the teeny tiny needles, knitting on US 10s is really nice. I really like this construction. It's one of the reasons I wanted to make the cardigans, because I had a lot of fun making the sweater. But you knit, just to, in case you're curious, you knit like a little tiny bit of the back panel first, like up to the corners here. So this little trapezoid, and you do that doing with short rows. And then you pick up stitches to knit this little triangle here. Or not triangle, but this little rectangle here on both sides. And then you knit across one of the rectangles, you pick up stitches along the side of it for the sleeves, knit across the back stitches, pick up stitches for the other sleeve, and then start knitting on the other rectangle, so it like joins it all together. And from there you just increase for sleeves for a long time, which gives you this like really nice kind of straight line down the front. I guess I can try on the sweater for you. Ignore the green on purple. Probably not a look I'd usually do. There we go. So yeah, you can see you increase just for the sleeves for a while, and it gives you this really nice like straight line down here, and it shapes the sleeve cap. And you just get this really nice fit through the shoulders because you have this little rectangle that's just there to sit on top of your shoulder. And yeah, and then the front neckline is shaped also using German short rows. And you do a little bit of raglan increases at the very bottom to get, you know, the width that you need for everything. So it's a lot of fun. Like it's a lot of steps and it keeps you interested. And none of the steps are like hard, but it's just the amount that it's kind of changing up and evolving, and that you have to kind of like go to the next part of the pattern, go to the next part of the pattern. Like it keeps you knitting it. Like I remembered that from the Cognac sweater. Like the yoke just flew off the needles, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like halfway done with this sweater all of a sudden. So, and then it is a fairly cropped sweater the way it's written. I would like to try and lengthen it a little bit. I think I should have enough yarn to lengthen it just a bit. I have 2 skeins of the spruce stock and 3 of the truffula, and I have a little bit of wiggle room to play with. So my plan is, once I finish up the truffula on this, because I'm going to run out of that skein first, I will knit both sleeves, and then I will knit the body to the length that I want, keeping in mind that I have to do, you know, button bands, and yeah, we'll see how long I can get it. But yeah, I'm loving this project. It's really nice. It's funny, I went from before this last month, I had only had 1 knit cardigan in my wardrobe, and then I did the Miles shirt jacket, the Camelia cardigan, and now the Cognac cardigan, like back to back to back. And so I think I felt that there was a gap in my wardrobe a little bit, and so we were working to correct that. And I feel like I've done a good job of knitting 3 that serve very, very, very different roles in my wardrobe, because like the Camelia is a very like fancy kind of, it's not fancy, like I can make it casual, but it's got a little bit more of an ornate kind of, I was describing it as like something like a grandma would wear, but in like a really good way. Like I mean that in like not a bad way. Like my Nana was a very classy lady, and I could see her wearing that sweater and like rocking it. And so that's the Camelia cardigan for me. And then the Miles shirt jacket's way more casual, way more just like grab and go and run some errands. And then the Cognac cardigan, I feel like is going to be like that pop of color to like finish an outfit kind of vibe. But yeah, I'm really excited to add all these to the wardrobe. I feel like they're genuine gaps that I'm filling, and not just like, I don't know, random sweaters that I'm adding that'll never get worn. Like I feel really good about them. So, but yeah, hopefully this wasn't too rambly. I feel like I've been talking for a long time. I'm glad I'm splitting this into 2 videos. I feel like if I had more to talk about at this point, I would just be like, oh my goodness, it never ends. But I feel like this is a good spot to stop. Hopefully this is fun for you. Were you knitting while you watched this? I would love to hear what you were knitting on. Are you transitioning to summer knits? Because I'm feeling like I should be, but I'm also feeling just overwhelmed by my Friday tea, I think. And while there's so many more summer knits I want to knit, I think I gotta do them one at a time. So we'll see how many I get done this year with that strategy. But I'd love to know what you're working on. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to my channel. I make videos every 2-ish weeks. Sometimes it's 3 when life gets in the way. I'm a full-time student, so sometimes I just don't have time to film, but the aim is every 2 weeks, and I love doing this. I love knitting. I love talking about it. And so if that's your thing, feel free to subscribe. If you could also like this video, share it. All those things really help the algorithm, really help other people to find this channel and find this video, and it's really, really, really appreciated. And so with that, I hope you had some fun. I hope you got some knitting in, and I will see you next time. Bye.